And welcome back to another episode of Crunch Time. I'm Noah Elkin.
I'm Austin Mann. As usual, we have a variety of topics from the amazing world of sports, so Noah, dap me with that first one.
All right, Austin. Well, sad to say, Victor Oladipo, Pacers shooting guard, went down this week with a ruptured right knee tendon. This is a relatively serious injury. It's one that Tony Parker came back from, a while back in his career. Right now, it's looking like a 6 to 9 month recovery time. So there's a good chance Oladipo will be good to go by the time the season starts next year. There's just kind of the question of, can Pacers maintain the pace that they've, no pun intended, the pace that they've set in the East this year, because they've blown a lot of people's expectations out of the water. Are they still the third seed in the East, Austin?
I definitely see them slipping, but I don't see them slipping no further than the 6th seed. I definitely think Victor Oladipo is obviously their most important player. He leads the team in scoring, but the Pacers are a sneaky deep team. They have two quality starting centers, but one of them just happens to be their number one guy off the bench. And I think Domantas Sabonis hugely slept on. This guy can give you 20 points off the bench every night, but Victor Oladipo kind of just ran things. And so I think it's going to take a while for the Pacers to adjust not having Victor Oladipo, just because he did so much for them. He was their number one option, the primary facilitator. Just really ran their offense through him. So I think it would be interesting to see how they revamp their offense. But, after that, initial time figuring things out, I think they're going to be fine. I don't think they're going to be as strong as contenders without Oladipo, but I think they can still make it at least second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's a great point about giving them a week and a half or so to kind of adjust to their new rotation and all that. You said you don't think they're going to drop below 6. I don't think they're going to drop below 5, because right now Boston is sitting number 5 and Brooklyn is 6. Between Boston and Brooklyn is 4.5 games. Between the 3rd seed Indiana and the 5 seed Boston is only a game and a half. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Pacers fall to 5. I also wouldn't be surprised if they stayed where they are. Granted, they're only half a game up from the Sixers. But overall, I mean, they're definitely still going to make the playoffs. I think they're still going to be a tough team to beat in the first round. I found something on CBS Sports. .com today that kind of surprised me. According to them, they said the Pacers' chance of winning a championship this year only decreased by 0.2%. And it also only has them dropping 1 seed, and it only has their projected wins dropping 0.4. So that's almost negligible.
Yeah,
right
there. It speaks to the amount of depth the players have, or the Pacers have. Think about it. I don't really see a glaring weakness on the Pacers. Obviously, they don't have top quality talent at all positions, but I think they have talent at every position, and they go at least 2-man deep at each position. So I don't really see a scenario where the Pacers have a cataclysmic fall off. But it's going to be hard to adjust without Oladipo. But I think they got this, and I think the Pacers are still going to be the Pacers and not going to change the way they play just because their best player's out.
All right, yeah. So the biggest news this week, of course, is Anthony Davis of the New Orleans Pelicans has requested a trade. He actually already got fined $50,000. I think that has to do with the tampering. For me, if the Pelicans want to offer honor his request and get a deal done, they don't have a lot of time to do it. Today is January 29th. They have until February 7th, which is the NBA trade deadline.
That is literally less than a week.
It's basically a week.
Yeah, basically a week from now. Yeah.
So for me, I know there's lots of talk of AD going to the Lakers or the Celtics, but which obviously could happen. I'm not counting that out. But if they want to move him by the deadline, which I'm not sure they do, but if they get an offer by the deadline, I think the Raptors would make a great team for AD, a great option for the Pelicans. They'd probably, Siakam has been playing out of his mind. I think that's probably the leading candidate in a bundle that would be going to New Orleans.
But even then, like, you can't. It's a disappointing haul to trade in like your All NBA center for like a guy who's starting to have a breakout season. Like, Pascal Siakam, nothing against him. He has the potential to be a future All Star, could be a superstar if he keeps developing the way he has. But Anthony Davis is a generational talent, and I think like it's only fair that you get someone who has the potential to be a perennial All-Star, a perennial like a borderline superstar at least in return. And I don't really see the Raptors offering that trade unless they give up someone like Kyle Lowry. I don't even think the Pelicans would want Kyle Lowry just because he's a lot older. So I think like the Pelicans really need to focus on getting that young centerpiece. And I don't really see any other team except the Celtics being able to offer that. But, they'd have to wait until July 1st, though.
Right. Are you thinking that Jason Tatum or Irving would be the one going down to New Orleans?
I would say if I was the Pelicans, I'd prefer Jason Tatum just because he's younger. He has more potential. Everyone knows what Kyrie can do, and I think Kyrie has kind of already peaked. So I would much rather get Jason Tatum. Just because, what he did in the playoffs was as a rookie was amazing. He can play multiple positions, something Kyrie Irving can't really do. And also, like, the Celtics have Jaylen Brown they can offer in addition, who looks like, a really, really good, maybe a borderline all-star. You have Terry Rozier. You have a bunch of first-round picks, too.
Isn't Terry Rozier's contract expiring?
Oh, yeah, he's a free agent. But, like, a package built around Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and like 2 or 3 first-round picks. That's a pretty solid haul for Anthony Davis, I would say.
Yeah, the biggest thing is even though Anthony Davis still has a year and a half on his current contract, there's really, like, aside from having AD on your team, I feel like the Pelicans don't have that much incentive to keep him, except for the fact that better offers will come in come summertime.
Oh yeah, like for sure he'll be on a new team next season, but not this season. He's not.
Yeah, all right. So let's talk about the Lakers because Lakers fans seem to always think they're going to be getting the next big free agent.
I mean, they did with LeBron.
They absolutely do with LeBron. They were right about that. So what's it going to take to get AD to LA?
I think you got to offer Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and at least 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, like, they're all 3 players who have a lot of potential, and all 3 of them could turn into superstars, but they all, like, just haven't shown enough. And I think, like, right now they're like better than average players. Like, I think out of the bunch, Kuzma is their best player, but I don't really think those 3 really scream excitement if I was a Pelicans fan, just because, you're getting 3 guys who on a really good night can be all-stars, and then on a bad night they can be detrimental to your team, whereas for the Pelicans they're giving up a player who is the heart and soul of their team and like gives them buckets on the offensive end, makes big defensive stuff, so you're just sacrificing a lot.
The thing for me is for Lonzo, Ingram, Kuzma, yeah, they're good young players. I'm not convinced any of them will ever be an all-star, like even one time.
I mean, I see Kuzma reaching there. I think if Lonzo develops his like playmaking ability, I mean, he's a great playmaker, but his all-around offensive game, his shooting, his ability to drive to the basket, I feel like he's just lacking in those. And if he does, I think he can be an all-star. Brandon Ingram, I just think he's had enough time for people to say he's going to develop, he's going to be a superstar. But honestly, I think we've seen the best of Brandon Ingram. I don't think he's going to get better than above average.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Ingram. People have been saying all kinds of hopeful things for Ingram. I'm not going to say he's peaked yet because he's only been in the league, 2 years?
This is third year.
3 years, 2.5 years. But I agree. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near what people thought he could be, on draft day 2.5 years ago.
No wonder he was the second pick to Ben Simmons.
Yeah. I mean, let me ask you this. Do you think AD is the best option for the Lakers if they have to trade for him? Because if they don't trade for him, they still have more than enough cap space to sign, say, a Kemba Walker in free agency. Or if they, I mean, granted, LeBron probably doesn't have this kind of time, but if they wait a year and a half, there's AD in free agency.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, like, LeBron's only on a 4-year contract, and year one they're probably not going to win it. And I think like during that time where he's guaranteed to be on your team, you want to win as many championships as possible. Just because when else are you going to have LeBron James on your team? He might go back to Cleveland after this contract, and like say you only got one championship with LeBron, it's kind of a disappointment.
I mean, I would see it as a success. The fact that you're bringing in LeBron at 34, you don't have any other All-Stars on your team. You're in an extremely competitive conference, way more so than what LeBron has been in previous years. I think if Magic Johnson can bring one championship home to LA in these 4 years, he will have done his job.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously his job is to win, but think about the Lakers though. The Lakers are never happy with just winning one championship. During their dynasty eras, they want at least two.
Yeah. All right, do you have any maybe dark horse teams that have flown under the radar that maybe could put together a package for AD? Because for me, normally when big free agent names come about as a Blazer fan, it doesn't, like, it's exciting to watch the process unfold, but I never expect anything to happen in Portland just because we're not a big free agent destination. Right now, I'm not sure we have the assets to...
yeah. I mean, CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is what it surprised me to scrolling through NBA on Reddit and Twitter and elsewhere, the Blazers have actually been mentioned a number of times as a potential place for AD. If they send a package out including, CJ McCollum, Zach Collins, maybe throw in Mo Harkless or another role player and a couple picks, I think that's a pretty intriguing offer.
It's an intriguing offer, but like nothing against CJ McCollum. He's talented, but like you're getting a guy who's older, or at least relatively the same age. And
he's not that much older. He's a few years older than AD, but he's like 27 or something.
But like even then, like he still hasn't been an All-Star. He still hasn't been named to an All-NBA team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. He's not as generational of a talent as AD.
Well, no question, but at the same time, look at the names we've been discussing. Kuzma is not anywhere close to CJ McCollum.
But the thing is, though, they offer more upside. Like, think about, you have 3 players with high upside, whereas if he went to the Blazers, you're only getting one guy who's guaranteed to be good.
Well, I think Zach Collins is another name that there's a lot of potential there.
There's a lot of potential, but right now he just hasn't like elicited enough.
Let me say this: he has more potential than Brandon Ingram.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
I firmly believe that.
Okay. I mean, you heard it from here. If Zach Collins becomes...
Hot take.
It's the hottest take I've heard today. So, if Zach Collins becomes a superstar, gets named to an All-NBA first team, you heard it from Noah Elkin, okay?
No, see, I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I'm saying Brandon Ingram's not going to do that either. So I guess back to the question, are there any other teams you can think of?
No, I really just think the obvious suspects are going to be the ones who end up with him. Like, I just think it's really a two-team race between the Lakers and Celtics, just because I think if there's AD has made it clear, I think he wants to sign with Los Angeles Lakers because he has the same agent, Rich Paul, as LeBron.
It's true.
But I think if there's one team that can really, really get him to not sign with the Lakers, get him to sign a contract, it would be the Celtics.
I firmly believe that if the Raptors are able to work out a deal and Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard both want to continue their careers into their next contracts with the Raptors, I think that's a scenario where AD would probably re-sign as well.
I mean, maybe one really dark horse candidate. I mean, it's not really dark horse. It's really just like in my dreams, but I think the Warriors can make a case just if obviously Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, free agents, Steph Curry off the table should be same amount of talent as AD. But I feel like a good.
Did you say same amount of talent as
AD?
Wait, who has as much talent as AD?
Steph Curry.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Clay or Dre does, and I was like, no.
No. Steph Curry should be off limits because he is a top 5.
Steph Curry absolutely should be off limits. He's your franchise player. He's
top 5.
He's been MVPs multiple times. Yeah, no, he would be the only player on the Warriors who I would not trade away for AD.
But I think an interesting package could be, Draymond Green, Kayvon Looney, a bunch of first round picks, and then maybe if you re-sign Clay, maybe Clay Thompson. But I feel like giving up Draymond or Clay would be enough, just because they're both like have been named to all NBA teams. They're both are all stars, and they both like know you're gonna get production from them. But I think it's still much of a pipe dream. I think the Pelicans should aim for like high upside young players. And I think that's just the best, because right now after you trade AD, they should just go back into rebuilding mode.
Yeah. For me, I'm telling you right now, there's absolutely zero chance this happens, because I don't think AD wants to. No, this is a different scenario now. I don't think AD wants to play there, and I also don't think they have the assets to get AD. But just imagine a Kings team with Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, and AD, because AD is one of the few big men in the league who I feel like could run the floor. The Kings have proven they're for real this year. It's not going to happen, but that would be a very entertaining.
I feel like
team
in
to watch.
any package the Kings offer, like Buddy Hield or De'Aaron Fox are going to be offered.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'd rather trade. I think I'd rather trade Buddy Hield than De'Aaron Fox, just because if you think about it, like think about that pick and roll game. AD went to
right, but Buddy Hield can run that, and Buddy Hield is a far superior 3-point shooter.
Yeah, but the thing is that like De'Aaron Fox does more for the team. I feel like obviously scoring is a big thing, but like think about it. He's their primary ball handler. He's their facilitator. He's their primary playmaker. And then if you trade that and you keep Buddy Hield, all you're getting is shooting and occasionally some passing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, this is a scenario that's not going to happen.
I mean, it's not going to happen.
I just in my mind that was a fun team that could exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we got in AD.
He's going to the Celtics. That's all I gotta say.
Celtics, Lakers, or Raptors, in my opinion. If he goes to the Raptors, it'll be this week. If he goes to the Celtics or the Lakers, it'll probably be for next year.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, still in the NBA, Jimmy Butler is scheduled to return actually today. And LeBron, his much anticipated return, he's trying to come back on Thursday. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I
mean,
mean,
superstars coming back to the NBA.
It helps the Lakers a lot more, just because Philadelphia hasn't really fallen off since Jimmy Butler's been injured. Just because you have Ben Simmons, you have Joel Embiid, 2 All-Stars already, 2 future superstars. But like the Lakers struggled mightily without LeBron. Like they looked so lost out there. They looked like the Lakers of last year.
They looked worse than the Lakers of last year. Like
you would say so?
Yeah, honestly, the Lakers of last year, like every time I watch them play the Blazers, I get a little scared. Like they were that team that always lost by like 3 points. Mm-hmm. For me, they could upset anyone on any given night last year, and that's still the case this year, but not without LeBron.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, LeBron is the most important player on that team. He's the only reason why they have a winning record. But, it just shows that the Lakers have a long way to go.
Yeah. All right, moving on. If y'all recall, there was a pretty big UFC fight a few months ago between Conor McGregor and Khabib. Today, the punishments for what happened immediately after said fight were released, I guess. Khabib is facing a 9-month suspension and a fine of $500,000. Conor is facing a 6-month suspension with a fine of $50,000. Austin, do you think this is appropriate? Do you think Khabib... do you think his case warranted a much heftier fine, 3 months more suspended?
I don't know. I feel like the $500K is a little too extreme. I think like if they split that in half, reasonable. $100K I feel like is more than enough. It's just because like MMA fighters, like a lot of money goes into preparing, and like if you think about it, they don't really turn that much profit. I mean, obviously he's a champ, but I just feel like this wasn't really... $500K is too much. I mean, I understand he went into the crowd, but he didn't punch a fan. He punched Conor McGregor's friend who was just talking mad shit about him. And, like, he just wanted retribution, and it was in the heat of the moment. And Conor McGregor fought someone, too. He just didn't jump the cage, which is, I guess, the reason why Khabib got a $500K fine. I don't know. What's your take on this?
I think... Well, because Khabib made, I believe, $2 million from the fight, so they basically took away 25% of, his commission. I'm gonna say it's a little bit steep, but I definitely understand it. You have to set an example when someone jumps into the crowd. I know he didn't target any, random, I guess, people who just came to watch the fight. He had a specific target who was related to Conor McGregor. However, he still exited the ring, dove into the crowd. I understand the decision to make an example right here and say we're not going to tolerate that. Payout.
Yeah.
I don't have a huge problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a problem with the suspension. It's just I feel like that fine is too much. I mean, just because I said earlier, like MMA fighters, it's hard for MMA fighters to turn profit just because they have a training camp, they have to pay their coaches, they have to pay their training partners, and that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars already.
Yeah, but before the fine, he had just secured a $2 million bag.
That's fair, but
for a few hours of action.
But like after taxes, he's only looking at a $1 million profit.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I think suspension and fine were warranted for both parties. I just think $500K is a little too much. And if you're gonna charge that much, I feel like you should have fined Conor McGregor more too. But I mean, I'm not in charge of this commission who determined these. So at the end of the day, it looks like it's solved, and Khabib's probably never fighting in Las Vegas again.
Yeah, probably not. One time, and it was the highest grossing fight of UFC history. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like both parties probably need to mature a little bit.
Yeah, big time.
And hopefully we'll get a rematch at some point. All right. Well, we're gonna leave you with our Super Bowl predictions because the Super Bowl, of course, is upon us this week. If you don't know already, it's the Rams Patriots. Austin, who do you have?
Well, I don't know how much faith I have in the Rams, but I want the Rams to win. I don't want to see the Patriots win their Super Bowl, so I'm going Rams all the way. I'm going 42-35 Rams.
Okay. I'm in a similar boat in which I'll be rooting for the Rams, despite them being a divisional rival for me. However, I think the Patriots are going to win. I hate to say it, but I think the Patriots are going to win. And I also think it'll be somewhat high scoring, but I don't think it'll be that high scoring. I think we're probably looking more at like a
35-28.
I was going to say like 28-31 or something like that.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, obviously, Brady wins another one. Just reaffirms his GOAT status. If Jared Goff wins this one, he could start saying like, y'all thought I was a bust. But, there's a lot of stakes in there. But at the end of the day, I just hope the Patriots don't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, it's funny. You thought the Sean McVay narrative was bad, this time around with the all the new coach hirings. Imagine if he wins a Super Bowl and what that'll look like next year.
Ooh, everyone's just going to be like, I want to find a next Sean McVay, a white guy who is in his 30s and knows offense. Like, that's really all you have to be a Sean McVay-esque coach.
Or that's what the team owners believe anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you heard it here. Austin thinks it's going to be the Rams. I think it's going to be the Patriots. Only way to find out is to watch.
Yeah. Let's find out Sunday.
Yeah. All right. Well, and we'll see you next week. That's all we got for now. I'm Noah Elkin.
I'm Austin, man. See y'all later.